I eat a lot of chicken. I've ate a lot of chicken.
Wings. They're supposed to be simple. Crispy skin, juicy meat, and a sauce that makes you reach for another one before you've even finished chewing. But somewhere along the way, fast food chains decided to complicate things. They started cutting corners, shrinking portions, charging more for less. And Canadian wing lovers have been paying the price ever since. Today, we're exposing 5 fast food wing chains that Canadians need to avoid at all costs. These are the spots that'll leave you with a lighter wallet, a heavier heart, and the kind of disappointment that makes you question every life decision that led you to that drive-through window. But don't worry, because after we wade through the muck, I'm going to reveal 2 chains that are actually worth your hard-earned Canadian dollars. 2 places where the wings are still made with care, the portions are still honest, and the quality hasn't been sacrificed at the altar of corporate profit margins. Coming in at number 5 on our avoid list, a chain that built its entire identity around wings and somehow still manages to disappoint: Wild Wing. Now, Wild Wing has been part of the Canadian landscape since March 17, 1999, when they first opened their doors in Sunderland, Ontario. They're proudly Canadian-owned. They've got over 100 locations stretching from British Columbia to Quebec. And they've built their reputation on offering 101 different wing flavors. 101. That's more flavors than most of us have had hot dinners. But here's the thing about having 101 flavors. It doesn't matter if you've got 1,000 flavors if the wings themselves aren't up to scratch. And based on what Canadian customers are saying, Wild Wing has some serious problems that no amount of creative saucing can fix. Let's start with the most common complaint. The wings are tiny. We're talking wings so small that customers are posting photos online showing them covering an entire wing with a dinner roll. For what you're paying, and we'll get to those prices in a moment, you'd expect something resembling an actual chicken wing, not something that looks like it came from a sparrow. And speaking of prices, let's talk value. Customers are reporting paying upwards of $17 for just 8 wings. $17 for 8 tiny wings. Do the math on that. You're looking at over $2 per wing. And these aren't premium, handcrafted, artisanal wings we're talking about here. These are often cold, over-battered, sitting under a heat lamp long enough to earn their own pension. The consistency issues are rampant across locations. You've got customers in Toronto complaining about cold food, customers in Edmonton dealing with incorrect orders, customers in Mississauga waiting 20-plus minutes for wings that arrive looking like they've been through a war. The Scarborough location has reviews mentioning flies in the restaurant. Flies. In a place that serves food. Employee reviews paint an equally troubling picture. Staff members report management issues, inconsistent standards across the franchise network, and a general sense that quality control has taken a back seat to cutting costs. Multiple locations have quietly closed their doors, which is never a good sign for a franchise that's supposed to be growing. The theme that emerges again and again from customer feedback is simple. Too expensive for what you get, and quality has gone down. When your entire brand identity is built around wings, and customers are saying the wings aren't worth the money, you've got a fundamental problem that no amount of marketing can fix. Wild Wing isn't the worst offender on this list, which is why they're at number 5. But for a chain that positions itself as the wing destination, they're falling woefully short of the mark. You can do better, Canada. Number 4, the chain that wants you to believe they're your friendly neighborhood sports bar, but might just be playing you for a fool. St. Louis Bar and Grill. St. Louis has been around since 1992 when they opened their first location in Toronto. They're 100% Canadian-owned and operated. They've grown to over 82 locations across the country, and they serve more than 2.2 million pounds of wings every single year. They've got the garlic dill sauce that people swear by. They've recently added Detroit-style pizza to the menu, and they position themselves as the ultimate destination for wings, beer, and good times. Sounds great on paper, but the reality? It's a mixed bag that too often tips toward disappointment. Let's talk about their famous Wingsanity promotion. All-you-can-eat wings. Sounds like a dream, right? Except customers report that the dream quickly becomes a nightmare of deliberate, slow service designed to wait you out. One customer in Barrie described ordering their first batch of wings, which are limited to 1.5 pounds, and being disappointed by the meager amount that arrived. Their scale, he suggested, must be broken. But it gets worse. On subsequent orders, you're limited to 1 pound, then half a pound. And here's the kicker. Each order takes longer and longer to arrive. 20 minutes for 4 wings. The pattern becomes clear pretty quickly. This isn't all you can eat. This is all you can wait for. The quality issues extend beyond the promotions. One longtime customer noted that the place used to be lovely, but has gone horrible with new staff and kitchen output, describing salt and pepper wings that came out burnt and tasting like old oil. Employee reviews are equally concerning. Staff members describe management as extremely toxic, with favoritism constantly shown. Workers report being required to do tasks off the clock, including cash-out duties and online training without compensation. One review from Orangeville describes owners as the typical restaurant owners you hear horror stories about, noting that if you mess up an order, they're not going to pay for it, and they'll overwork you to the point of exhaustion, with 7 shifts a week at 9 to 10 hours per shift. When your staff is exhausted, undertrained, and working in a toxic environment, that shows up in the food, it shows up in the service, and ultimately, it shows up in the customer experience. St. Louis isn't without its defenders. Some locations get praised for friendly service and tasty wings. But the inconsistency across the franchise is a major red flag. You might get a great experience. You might get wings that taste like they were fried in oil that should have been changed last month. That's not a gamble most people want to take with their dinner. At number 3, the American invasion that promised to revolutionize Canadian wings, but delivered something far less impressive: Wingstop. Wingstop rolled into Canada in 2022 with massive fanfare. They signed a 100-location agreement with JPK Capital. They targeted Toronto as their beachhead, and they positioned themselves as the answer to everything Canadians were missing in the wing game: bold flavors, cooked-to-order wings, hand-sauced and tossed. As of late 2025, they've got 15 locations in Ontario, with plans to expand into Calgary in 2026. And they're part of a global brand with nearly 3,000 restaurants worldwide and system-wide sales of nearly $5 billion. They don't serve alcohol, positioning themselves as a fast casual wing specialist rather than a sports bar. The wing, they say, is the center of the plate. So how are they doing? Well, let's just say the hype hasn't quite matched the reality. When BlogTO sent reviewers to test out Wingstop's offerings, the results were decidedly mixed. The lemon pepper wings? A little disappointing. The garlic parmesan? There are other places that do it better. The coating looked like it was only on one side of the wing. For a chain that positions itself as the flavor experts, that's a pretty damning assessment. Customer reviews tell a similar story. Even one Mississauga customer described their experience as a complete disaster, with wings that were barely cooked, absolutely no seasoning, and tasted like rubber. The voodoo fries? An abomination. No seasoning at all, just these sad, soggy, bland potato sticks that tasted rancid. The pricing doesn't help matters. Customers report paying premium prices for portions that don't match up. Wings described as the size of a pinky finger, that are more bone than meat. When you're charging fast casual prices, customers expect fast casual quality. Too often, Wingstop is delivering fast food quality at sit-down restaurant prices. Employee reviews raise additional concerns. Staff members in Canada report issues with management, including being forced to work while sick, not receiving the pay rate mentioned during orientation, and a general lack of support. One particularly alarming review mentioned rats in the kitchen and management refusing to buy soap and sanitizer for dishes to maintain profit margins. Whether that's representative of the broader franchise or an isolated incident, it's not exactly confidence-inspiring. The fundamental problem with Wingstop in Canada is that they're trying to be something they're not quite pulling off. They want to be the premium wing destination, but the execution isn't matching the marketing. They want to be the flavor experts, but customers are finding the flavors underwhelming. They want to charge premium prices, but they're not delivering premium experiences. Wingstop isn't terrible. Some customers love it, but for the money you're spending, you can do better. And that's why they land at number 3 on our avoid list. Number 2, the chain that makes great fried chicken, but somehow forgot how to make great chicken wings, Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Now let me be clear about something. Popeyes makes a fantastic fried chicken sandwich. Their biscuits are legendary. Their Cajun fries have a cult following. When it comes to fried chicken pieces, they know what they're doing. But wings? That's a different story entirely. Popeyes is everywhere in Canada. They're part of Restaurant Brands International, the same company that owns Tim Hortons, Burger King, and Firehouse Subs, which means they've got the infrastructure and the resources to deliver consistent quality across their locations. In theory, in practice, customer satisfaction tells a very different story. Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Canada has a customer service rating of just 1.6 out of 5 stars. 1.6. That's not a rating that suggests occasional problems. That's a rating that suggests systemic issues across the entire operation. Let's talk about what customers are actually experiencing. One Toronto customer described ordering ghost pepper wings that arrived barely warm, dried out, and didn't have a modicum of spice to them. The wings, he said, looked tired and sad. Coming from a chain known for bold Louisiana flavors, that's a pretty significant failure. The issues go beyond just the wings. Customers across Canada report incorrect orders, missing items, and food that's clearly been sitting under heat lamps for far too long. Wait times are another constant complaint. Customers report waiting 45 minutes to an hour just to place an order, only to receive food that's cold, incorrect, or both. The wings themselves, when you actually get them, often disappoint. Reviewers describe wings that are overcooked, dry, or missing the bold flavors that Popeyes is supposed to be known for. One review noted that the new wing flavors, including honey garlic and garlic parmesan, didn't live up to expectations. The honey garlic was too sweet. The parmesan had too much cheese, making it overly salty. Here's the fundamental problem with Popeyes wings: they're an afterthought. Popeyes built their reputation on fried chicken pieces, not wings. Wings are a menu addition designed to capture a different market segment, not a core competency, and it shows. The care and attention that goes into their signature chicken sandwich simply doesn't translate to their wing offerings. If you want Popeyes chicken, get the chicken, get the sandwich, get the tenders. But if you're specifically craving wings, you're better off going somewhere that actually specializes in them. Before we reveal the worst offender on this list, and you don't want to miss it, quick question: do you like knowing the truth about where your food comes from before you spend your money? If so, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We post honest, unsponsored reviews to help Canadians make smarter choices about where they eat, and drop a comment below. Tell me about your wing experiences. Have you been burned by any of these chains? Do you have a local spot that deserves recognition? I read every single comment, and your experiences help shape future content. All right, let's get to the big one. The #1 fast food wing chain that Canadians must avoid at all costs. The chain that's been coasting on nostalgia while delivering disappointment after disappointment. The chain that should know better, but somehow keeps getting worse. Swiss Chalet. Now I can already hear some of you. Swiss Chalet? The place with the rotisserie chicken? The Chalet sauce? The festive special that's been a Canadian tradition since 1954? Yes, that's Swiss Chalet. Here's the thing. Swiss Chalet has been serving Canadians for over 70 years. They're an institution. They're the place your grandparents took your parents, and the place your parents took you. That famous Chalet sauce has been dipped into by generations of Canadian families. And that history, that nostalgia, is exactly what Swiss Chalet is banking on, while they serve you some of the worst wings in the country. Let's be absolutely clear about something. Swiss Chalet is a rotisserie chicken restaurant. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. Wings are not their specialty. Wings are not their focus. Wings are a menu item they added to capture customers who might otherwise go somewhere else. And it shows. Oh, does it show? Customer after customer describes Swiss Chalet wings as dried out, overcooked, and borderline inedible. One Hamilton customer titled their review, "Worst Wings Ever," after receiving wings that were small, dried out, and tasted like they'd been microwaved. The fries? A soggy, raw mess. But it gets worse. A Toronto customer reported that Swiss Chalet is serving frozen, pre-battered wings. Let that sink in. A restaurant chain that's supposed to be known for its rotisserie cooking is serving frozen wings out of a bag. Shame on you, the customer wrote, and honestly, that's putting it mildly. Another longtime customer, someone who'd been going to Swiss Chalet for 40 years, described wings that were hard and dry and not bled out properly. The meat next to the bone, they said, was almost black in 6 out of 8 wings. That's not a quality control issue. That's a food safety concern. The reviews on consumer complaint sites are equally damning. Swiss Chalet has a 2.1-star rating based on customer reviews, with complaints about poor service, bad food, and portions that have shrunk while prices have climbed. Here's what makes Swiss Chalet the worst offender on this list. They're trading on trust they haven't earned in years. They're banking on Canadians' memories of what Swiss Chalet used to be, while delivering an experience that bears little resemblance to those memories. They're charging sit-down restaurant prices for quality that wouldn't pass muster at a food court. When customers who've been loyal for 30, 40, 50 years are saying, "I will not go there again," and it's a shame what has happened to this franchise, you know something has gone seriously wrong. Swiss Chalet isn't just disappointing wing lovers. They're betraying a legacy, and that's why they're the #1 chain that Canadians must avoid. All right, deep breath. We've waded through the disappointment. We've cataloged the failures. We've mourned what could have been. Now it's time for the good news, because despite everything we've just covered, there are still places in Canada where you can get genuinely great wings. Places where the quality hasn't been sacrificed, where the portions are honest, where your money actually buys you something worth eating. Let me introduce you to the 2 fast food wing chains that are actually worth your time. Coming in at number 2 on our Worth It list, a chain that's been quietly doing things right for over 55 years, Mary Brown's Chicken. Mary Brown started in St. John's, Newfoundland back in 1969. They're 100% Canadian-owned and operated. They've grown to over 280 locations across the country, and they've built their entire business model around one simple principle: fresh, never frozen. That's not just marketing speak. Mary Brown's actually makes their food fresh from scratch. Their chicken is Canada Grade A, raised by Canadian farmers. Their famous taters are made from real potatoes. And when they launched their wing program in September 2024, they brought that same commitment to quality. The wings come in multiple flavor: buffalo, soy garlic glaze, dry rub honey barbecue, and their signature saucy sauce, which combines sweet and spicy in a way that's become an instant fan favorite. You can also order them naked if you prefer to taste the chicken itself. What customers are saying is encouraging. Food reviewers describe the wings as crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. The ghost pepper wings from their secret menu have been rated 9 out of 10. The new hot honey sandwich, which features their signature chicken preparation, earned a perfect 10 out of 10 from one reviewer who called it the best fried chicken sandwich ever. The value proposition is solid too. During their launch promotion, Mary Brown's offered 6 wings, small taters, and a drink for just $9.99. Even at regular prices, customers report getting quality that matches or exceeds what they're paying. But here's what really sets Mary Brown's apart: consistency. Because they maintain strict quality control across their franchise network, you're getting essentially the same experience, whether you're in Vancouver or Halifax. That's not something you can say about a lot of the chains we covered earlier. Mary Brown's has earned 19 consecutive years of same-store sales growth. They've been awarded the Canadian Franchise Association's Franchisee's Choice designation for 15 consecutive years. They were named Company of the Year by Food Service and Hospitality magazine in 2022. These aren't vanity awards. These are indicators of a business that's doing things right. Is Mary Brown's perfect? No. Some customers report inconsistent experiences at individual locations, and their wing program is still relatively new compared to their core chicken offerings. But they're doing what so many other chains have failed to do: maintaining quality while they grow. If you're looking for great wings from a truly Canadian company that takes pride in what they serve, Mary Brown's deserves your attention. And finally, the #1 fast food wing chain that's actually worth it: the chain that's been doing things right since before most of its competitors even existed, the undisputed champion of Canadian chicken, Saint Hubert. If you're from Quebec, you already know. Saint Hubert isn't just a restaurant chain. It's an institution. It's a cultural touchstone. It's the place with the little yellow delivery cars that have been bringing rotisserie chicken to Quebec families since 1951. That's over 70 years of serving Canadians. And unlike some other chains we've discussed today, Saint Hubert has actually maintained their quality over those decades. Saint Hubert operates over 120 locations, primarily in Quebec, but with presence across eastern Canada. They're known for their slow-roasted barbecue chicken, their signature barbecue sauce that you can buy in grocery stores across the country, and an atmosphere that manages to feel upscale while still being accessible. But we're here to talk about wings. And Saint Hubert's wings are, according to customers who've eaten wings across North America, quite simply the best. One customer described Saint Hubert wings as the best wings I have ever tasted in Canada and the USA. That's not hyperbole. That's the kind of statement that comes from someone who's done the comparison shopping. What makes them special? Saint Hubert sources over 90% of their ingredients from Canada, with most of it coming from Quebec. The wings are small, but perfectly seasoned. They're served what wing enthusiasts call nude style, meaning no heavy sauce coating the outside. Instead, you get the full flavor of the seasoning and the chicken itself, with your choice of sauce served on the side for dipping. The quality extends beyond the wings. The coleslaw is consistently praised as the best customers have ever had, available in both vinegar and creamy versions. The service is fast and efficient. The atmosphere manages to feel like a proper sit-down restaurant while still offering the convenience of takeout and delivery. The customers who visit Saint Hubert for the first time often express surprise at the quality level. "I thought it would be like Boston Market or KFC," one American visitor wrote, "but when I walked in, I felt like I was in a high-end restaurant." That gap between expectation and reality, in the positive direction, is something very few chains manage to achieve. The pricing is higher than your typical fast food joint, which is fair criticism, but customers consistently report that the quality justifies the cost. When you're paying for Saint Hubert, you're paying for chicken that's actually been slow roasted to perfection, not reheated from frozen, or sitting under a heat lamp for hours. For Canadians outside Quebec, Saint Hubert might require a bit of a drive, but if you're anywhere near one of their locations, it's absolutely worth the trip. This is what fast food chicken is supposed to taste like. This is the standard that other chains should be measuring themselves against. Saint Hubert proves that you can be a large chain, serve millions of customers, and still maintain the quality that made you successful in the first place. That's why they're our #1 pick for Canadian wing chains that are actually worth your money. So there you have it. 5 chains to avoid: Wild Wing with their tiny, overpriced wings, St. Louis Bar and Grill with their inconsistent quality and questionable all-you-can-eat tactics, Wingstop with their underwhelming execution of promising concepts, Popeyes with their afterthought approach to wings, and Swiss Chalet, trading on nostalgia while serving frozen wings to loyal customers who deserve better. And 2 chains worth supporting: Mary Brown's, the truly Canadian company doing fresh right, and Saint Hubert, the Quebec institution that proves quality doesn't have to decline as you grow. The next time you're craving wings, remember this list. Your wallet will thank you, your taste buds will thank you. And maybe, just maybe, if enough Canadians start voting with their dollars, some of these underperforming chains will finally get the message that quality matters. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.